Hello chess friends and welcome to Zarov's chess channel and welcome to my Basics in Chess series. So in this series we're following opening principles, middle game strategies and the endgame strategies. Today we'll talk about some defensive strategies in chess again. Today we'll talk about the subject how to create a blocking system. A blocking system is a very important defensive strategy in which you maybe create a very important advanced pawn. This pawn will paralyze maybe the queen side, will paralyze maybe the king side, but this pawn needs to be supported maybe with some minor pieces, maybe with some rooks, because in some occasions you face this so-called opposite side attack game. It means you maybe attack the king side, but your opponent will attack the queen side. So it's very important to create this blocking system in order to slow down your opponent's attack on the queen side, maybe where he's slightly better on that side, because we want to slow down, of course, your opponent's attack, but be fast on our side of the board where we are attacking. The blocking system, most of the times we use also in pawn majority games. So it means when your opponent has maybe a 3 versus 2 situation somewhere, maybe on the queen side he has a pawn majority, he has created a very nice pawn storm. So then you should try maybe to create this blocking system. I'll explain you, of course, these ideas more through some examples. Here is an example. It's a game played by Luka Lenic against Georg Moore. Georg Moore here with the black pieces, and we'll stop a little bit and talk about this position. This game is from a Dragon Sicilian defense. It's the so-called Maroxy bind. The problem for black here is that black is facing here the pawn majority on the queen side. So here white has sort of an advantage, has a 3 versus 2 situation with pawns. What black has maybe as a strategical advantage is maybe a 2 versus 1 pawn central control. So black has maybe a slightly advantage when it comes to pawns in the center, but white has really this pawn majority. In order to block this pawn majority, to really slow it down at least for a little bit, because sometimes you'll not be able to just create a blockade, but sometimes the idea in chess is just to slow down a little bit your opponent's attack and then maybe be faster somewhere else. So that's why here in the game Georg Moore played the move a5, because if you don't play this move a5, it could be very risky immediately here for black, because the serious threat, let's maybe try a passive move. Bishop to c6 seems like a natural move, improving the position of the bishop, but then you face immediately b4, and here you're already in troubles. So that's why you have to really first play on this defensive strategy to create this blocking system. This blocking system builds now. This rook is of course supporting now our pawn on a5, and here in the game Luka Lenic tried the move a3. Now it's time to push the pawn further here with the move a4. So now we're creating even further our expansion on the queen side. We're not allowing our opponent to play this very annoying move b4, because if you again play something like bishop to c6, which could be maybe a good idea, you see b4 will happen anyway after a takes b, maybe you can play on a rook, trades of rooks on the a file, but after queen takes a1, I think white has here really a comfortable game. In the next move you face this very annoying move b5. So here you see white has expanded here on the queen side because we haven't played correctly. That's why here in the game after the move a3, here black tried a4. Okay, I'm not saying that you will win this game immediately, but this was really a necessary defensive strategy. Here, white tried c5. Okay, queen to a5, developing the queen, of course. C takes d6, e takes d6. Okay, so far, maybe now we're having here a weak pawn on d6, but it's still very hard for black to attack this pawn. Even if you move the bishop somewhere, we could simply continue our attack here, maybe with rook to d8, trying to get some kind of supported pawn here with the move rook to d8, and then maybe try bishop to c6, some discovered attacks and similar ideas. So it's not so easy for black to for white to attack this pawn on d6, but that's not even the point. Here the main idea is, as I said, to slow at least a little bit the queenside expansion. Here, white needed this move c5 in order to make something happen in the game, because if white plays this game passively after the move a4, if he tries something like queen to d2, then we could play on our main idea to play finally the move bishop to c6, and maybe something like knight to d7, knight to c5, simply further supporting our very powerful pawn on a4. So I hope you realize that after this blocking system here, nothing can basically happen to black on the queen side. Basically, we're now playing in the center, maybe with e6, d5 pawn breakthroughs, with maybe positional trades of pieces like knight to d7, maybe trading off the dark bishop. But that was all possible because we played on our defensive strategy first and then try to counterplay. So let's see now another example. Here it's a game played by Alireza Firouzja against Ding Liren. So we face here, we don't have here the position in which we have maybe the pawn majority. We face here the position of the opposite side attack game, because here Alireza Firouzja already showed his cards. Here it's a game in the Najdorf. Here he plays f3, and it's obvious that he'll try the move g4 to expand on the king side. He'll try, of course, some queen to d2, queen side castling moves. So on the other hand, black's idea is to play something like b5. So we're facing really this opposite side attack game in which you're basically trying to be faster on that side where you're attacking. In order to slow down a little bit White's progress on the king side, here Ding Liren plays a very nice move h5. So this is sort of a necessary move. Now White needs many moves in order to make something happen on the queen side. So White would try maybe h3, g4, maybe g3, h3, then rook to g1, and then finally g4. So at least he loses 3-4 tempos in order to make something happen on the queen side. On the other hand, black can always play immediately b5, maybe even b4. I'm not going to explain now the Najdorf from this tactical or strategical point of view, but I just wanted to show you how it is important to realize this opposite side attack game. When it happens to you, you should immediately slow down your opponent's attack. So h5. Now we have really this blocking system. The knight is of course supporting the pawn and also the rook. The good thing about this system is that we can even push again this pawn further. So in the game here, queen to d2 was played. Ding Liren played knight to d7, queenside castling. We have bishop to e7, king to b1, b5, expansion on the queen side. Now we want to attack our opponent's kings because now the king could be endangered by our pawns here. And now a3 here played by Alireza Firouzja. We have rook to c8, a healthy developing move, and now h3. Here again, Ding Liren pushes the pawn further because g4 we can take en passant, h takes g3, and again this let's see a possible g4 move. We could play simply h takes g3, and what to do? Okay, maybe White could try maybe queen to g2. It's not the point. Maybe White can even try to take this pawn, but at least we have splitted the pawns. White is not attacking us maybe with a pawn storm, with sort of a pawn chain. He'll only attack us maybe with one particular pawn, and then his attack is a little bit splashed. So in the game here, f4, you see again Alireza Firouzja is trying to do something with his f pawn, not with the g pawn. As I said, we have at least stopped a little bit this potential g4 move. And in the game f4 here, after kingside castling, we have f5, bishop takes b3, c takes b3, and now you see here Ding Liren has a good square for the knight, so that's why bishop takes c5, d takes c5, and after queen to e1, here finally queen to c7. I'm not going to show you now the whole game because it was a winning game by Ding Liren. Although here White could maybe take, but there are always this discovered attack possibilities on the queen, so it's not even easy here for White to take this pawn. But I've explained this game already on my YouTube chess channel. I've analyzed this. This was from this invitational tournament in 2020. What I'm trying to say here is that you see how this move in the beginning, this move h5 blocked really the whole king side. Alireza Firouzja didn't have good attacking possibilities immediately. Even a g4 move is very risky after potential h takes g4 and followed with knight takes g4, because there are even some tactical threats on the h file. So as I said, here Ding Liren realized these ideas, although it seems like a strange move here, this move h5 immediately, because it seems that you're weakening the pawn structure further, but this is really a necessary move which prevents this immediate g4 move. So let's see now another example. Here we have a game between Liu Lu against Saviely Golubov. Saviely Golubov here with the black pieces. All of this game that I'm using in this video will be in the description below. You can analyze maybe the whole games, but here we talk only about this blocking systems. Here we have a Peterson variation of the King's Indian, and Here again, after knight to c5, black is challenging immediately this weak pawn on e4. Here, queen to c2 was played, and now we create again a blocking system because we have to play the move a5 in order to prevent some b4 ideas, and we want to stay a little bit further with our knight on c5. In order to make something happen, you see, white will need again many moves. White needs to play something like b3, a3, rook to b1, and then finally we have the potential b4 idea. But as I said, we have now this opposite side attack game, which I always like to mention when that happens, because we have this directed pawn structure. Black is trying the attack on the king side, white is trying the attack on the queen side. So in this opposite side attack games, you want to be faster on that side where you're stronger. So it means black will try f5 moves because black should try to attack on that side, but you have to also block out your opponent's good side, and it's of course the queen side. So you see, as I said, a3, b3, rook to b1, and then finally b4 are 4 tempos in order for white to make something happen. If you play a3, which seems like a good idea to play the move b4 immediately, then I think again white is facing this potential pushing of pawn further with the move a4, and now bishop to d7. As I said, we're creating this blocking system. We need many pieces in order to support this pawn. If, for instance, white tries to move a3, we would immediately play the move a4, and now after a potential b4 move, we could simply take en passant. So we have stopped really this queenside attack here in the game. That's why after the move a5, white tried bishop to g5, we have queen to e8 getting out of the pin, knight to d2, and we have now knight to d7, we have rook to e1, and now you see f5. At least we have attacked. Now we're simply a little bit faster here on the attack with the move f5. We have e takes f5, g takes f5, now f4, e4, we have b3. You see, white is a little bit slow here on the attack because, as I said, if you play a3, you get a4. So that's why you have to prepare this move with b3, then a3, and then b4. Again, 2 more tempos. So here, knight to f6, we have a3, and now queen to g6. We have now finally b4, and now knight to a6, which is also a very nice idea here by black, because here what black is trying is to create this split pawn situation. Here black gives up a pawn, but again can create a blocking system with the move knight to c5. Now this pawn is endangered, this pawn is endangered, and basically black has created here 3 weak pawns, still with this very nice centralized knight, and now maybe with some possibilities to play h6, maybe something like king to h8, rook to g8, bishop to h6, getting use maybe of the g file, and you see, I think white's attack is a little bit splashed here, so that's why here black has, I think, a comfortable game. So that's why after the move knight to a6, queen to b3 was played in order to further support potential b5 move. Here we have h6, bishop to h4, knight to g4, we have knight to d1, and now finally a takes b4, and now c5, because if you take en passant, it's not such a powerful idea. We can simply take, so a potential c5 move is not so powerful. We can simply pass through d5, and then we would have 2 centralized pawns. So very nice, you see, move, because now again after this move b5, okay, you have attacked my knight, but now after knight to b4, again black has secured the queen side. Again, black has created a new blocking system. You see, this knight is supported. Basically, the position on the queen side is static. It's fixed, it's firm, it's nothing can happen on the queen side. Basically, the whole game is transposed to the king side, where we are stronger, where we have maybe here this advanced pawn, where we have maybe a better activity of pieces. We have solved, as I said, the position on the queen side. Now it's time to attack the king side. So here h3, knight to f6, we have knight to c3, and now e3. Here black is trying at least some kind of an attack. We have knight to b1, and now rook to e8, supporting our pawn. We have king to h2, and now bishop to d7. Here I'll stop. I don't want to show you really the whole game. It's not my point now to show some tactics here. I wanted to show you how from this attack in the beginning black managed to get this kind of position, but that was all possible because of this potential a5 move, then this blocking system to play with the move knight to c5, then after the pawn move c5, really trying to block that side where we're weaker, because as I said, in this directed attack in the beginning, as I said here, let's go back. We have this opposite side attack game in which we have this directed attack, and white will make progress on the queen side. So these pawns are basically showing us the direction of the attack, so that's why we have to block it somehow. We have to slow it down at least a little bit, because sometimes you cannot block out the position, but at least you can slow it down and make maybe faster progress on that side where you're better, maybe here, like in this particular example on the king side. So okay, I hope you realize these ideas. This is really important. So blocking systems, you use many pieces in order to support one pawn that blocks out one particular side where you are weaker, and most of the times it happens in the opposite side attack games, and in also pawn majority chess games in which your opponent has maybe a 3 versus 2, 4 versus 3 situation on one particular side on the board. So sometimes it's possible to block or slow down his attack with this very nice blocking system. Okay, I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you realized these ideas. Meanwhile, you can watch my other defensive strategy videos so far that I've covered on my YouTube chess channel. Here's the link, and you can also watch my basics in chess videos, in which I show you opening principles, middle game strategies, and the end game strategies. But all of this video that I use in the strategies are added also in my basics in chess series. So this basics in chess series has over now, I think, 140 videos, so you can really check it out. Maybe you can watch one video per day and maybe get some kind of learning in this very nice strategies, because chess is all about learning. You have to learn, you have to learn this strategy, you have to learn also to defend, you have to also learn to attack, and that's why I create this series for you. Maybe it's not the most viewed series on my YouTube chess channel, but I'll continue, and as I said, we'll continue also with my defensive strategies, also with some attacking strategies. I think we'll have fun, and also we'll learn something. So okay, as I said, meanwhile, you can watch my defensive strategies and my basics in chess series videos, and you can also watch my chess tactics and chess puzzles videos, in which I show you all of the possible tactical motifs that can happen to you in a chess game. And you can also subscribe to my channel if you like this content. Thanks you for watching, guys, and chess is the best, of course.